Добрый день, уважаемые участники. Здравствуйте. Подключайте, пожалуйста, аудио, видео. Очень рады вас приветствовать на сегодняшнем вебинаре. Позвольте предоставить буквально еще, наверное, пару минут для того, чтобы все участники смогли присоединиться к вебинару. Пока мы ожидаем, позвольте пройтись, как обычно, по техническим моментам сегодняшнего вебинара. В первую очередь хотелось бы отметить, что сегодняшний эксперт у нас будет проводить вебинар на английском языке. В связи с этим большая просьба во время основной содержательной части переключиться на канал перевода на русский язык. В нижней части вашего экрана, пожалуйста, найдите функцию перевода и выберите соответствующий канал. Также хотелось бы напомнить, что у нас сегодня сессия записывается. И, соответственно, если вы не хотите, чтобы ваша картинка попадала на запись, большая просьба к вам выключить свои камеры и просто прослушивать вебинар. Также хотела бы попросить вас во время основной содержательной части выключить ваши микрофоны для того, чтобы предоставить возможность всем участникам прослушивать вебинар без помех. Отдельно в конце сессии у вас будет возможность задать свои вопросы, поэтому большая просьба либо сохранить вопросы до конца сессии, либо написать их в чате, если они у вас возникают по ходу сессии. Мы вернемся к вашим вопросам, напоминаю, в конце вебинара. Так, давайте мы, наверное, уже начнем сегодняшний вебинар. Позвольте очень кратко напомнить вам, в рамках какой инициативы мы с вами сегодня встречаемся. Да, у нас все наши очные мероприятия, также и онлайн-мероприятия, как и сегодня, проводятся в рамках второй фазы Дарья Скаффолд. В свою очередь, Дарья Скаффолд является частью большей инициативы Европейского союза «Дарья». «Дарья» расшифровывается как «Диалог и действия для находчивой молодежи Центральной Азии». И она реализуется Европейским фондом образования в сотрудничестве с национальными органами стран Центральной Азии, которые отвечают за развитие образования и навыков. В частности, наша команда Дарья Скаффолд отвечает за помощь, да, вам, педагогам, чтобы вы могли более эффективно планировать свои занятия посредством инструмента Scaffold. И мы очень рады, что сейчас уже вторая фаза, то есть на протяжении уже нескольких лет количество педагогов Центральной Азии, которые применяют Scaffold в своей ежедневной практике, увеличивается. И отдельная благодарность всем вам для того, что вы также посвящаете время, свое рабочее время для того, чтобы посетить наши вебинары и продолжить свое профессиональное развитие. Хотелось бы напомнить вам, что у нас сегодня 5-й вебинар из серии международных вебинаров Дарья Скаффолд. Сейчас вы на слайде у себя видите полный перечень вебинаров, которые вас ожидают. Как вы знаете, вебинары у нас начались в прошлом году. Сейчас мы уже на 5-й с вами сессии, и буквально не за горами окончания сессии. У нас осталось всего 2 вебинара. Формат у сегодняшней сессии точно такой же, как и у предыдущих. То есть у нас с вами 90 минут. Основной язык у нас английский с синхронным переводом на русский. Также позвольте мне очень кратко напомнить то, что у нас с вами все записи, да, всех наших вебинаров, в том числе и сегодняшнего, а также материалы сегодняшней сессии будут доступны на наших основных 2 ресурсах. В первую очередь это большая телеграм-группа Дарья Скаффолд, где сейчас уже больше 1000 педагогов со всей Центральной Азии, которые практикуют, имплементируют инструмент Scaffold. И также второй ресурс – это наш мини-сайт Дарья Scaffold, где мы, собственно говоря, и размещаем все материалы по вебинарам. Поэтому большая просьба к вам, да, сохранить данный ресурс, если вы еще не воспользовались, и проверить их, когда у вас будет время. Сейчас позвольте без отлагательств передать слово нашему эксперту сегодняшнему. Большая просьба еще раз, да, переключить сейчас экран, не экран, перевод, включить функцию перевода с английского на русский, пожалуйста. Pia, over to you.
Thank you, Victoria, and nice to meet you all. My name is Pia Kolho, and I come from Finland, from JAMK School of Professional Teacher Education. I work there as a principal lecturer, but I have a long experience working also in vocational education and training, and also some other school levels, but mainly VET and also in university level. Let's go further about the theme shifting from teaching to facilitating learning. What do we have today on our agenda? We had already the Welcome by Scaffold group, the objectives and warming up we will have soon, and I wish you could join and write your answer to the chat. After that, I will explain why we need the change in teaching, from teaching to facilitating learning. What are the reasons for that? Then we continue the connection between theories for learning and teaching, how they are connected to this theme. I give you also some practical examples of learning concepts and how to use scaffold cards. We are going to also have some Zoom poll, and I wish you to answer those. And finally, we conclude this session with the connection between teachers' theory in use and teaching, how it affects what you do. And some reflection and feedback, again, some Zoom poll. So lecture, some examples, activating polls, and then you are going to get also afterwards handout exercise of this theme. Okay, let's take next slide. So what are the objectives of this webinar? The main thing is that you understand the shift from teaching to facilitating learning in education, why this has happened and why we do need it. Other thing is that you understand the connection of learning theories and teaching. Third one, you explore practical facilitation methods that supports active and authentic learning. And of course, to apply scaffold cards in planning and implementing facilitation on learning. And I really do hope that if you have questions, you can write those in chat. And I wish that we will have some time in the end that we can discuss on those. And I'm quite sure we will have. I try to keep time that way. So now, warming up. Please, when you think on facilitating learning. Let's take the next slide, please. So what word comes to your mind when you think about facilitating learning? Please think a bit and then write on chat. What comes to your mind? What it means, facilitating learning. What else? Mm-hmm. Any other words? There is no wrong answers. Mm-hmm. Some more? What is the student's role when you use facilitating learning? Okay, if there is any other objections, the good ones, they are very good ones. It is a part of management that way and leading the learning process. It is also spreading, I think, I don't know what the one who wrote it, that what spreading means, but in my opinion, it's also spreading the teacher's role that way. And it is also that teacher is helping students to learn. Okay, let's go further. Let's take the next slide. So why do we need this change in teaching? I've been teaching since 1990, so quite a long time. And as I told, I've been teaching in many levels, and I've seen the change in teaching, in learning, also the need from the environment, and also the change of the students. I'm going to explain future competence needs and learning meta skills, what it means, learning responsibility shift when we think about facilitating learning, and then competence-based curriculums, what those affect, and pedagogical justification needs that we have. Let's take the next slide. So the future competence needs and meta skills. Rapid changes in industry driven by automation, sustainability, demands, and service innovation require more than content knowledge. They require meta skills. Also, we call them soft skills or future skills. So there are many words on that. Competencies such as self-regulation, learning to learn, collaboration, digital fluency, adaptability, and complex problem solving cannot be developed through passive listening. And believe me, for me, this kind of lecture that I'm the only one who is talking 90 minutes, it's very difficult because this is not the way I usually teach. But I try to do my best. Lecturing primarily supports information transmission, what we are doing now, but future-oriented competence development requires active knowledge construction, authentic problem engagement, reflection, and collaboration. When teachers move from knowledge deliverers to facilitators of learning, they create environments where students practice autonomy, navigate uncertainty, and co-construct understanding. Therefore, the shift towards facilitation and student-centered learning is not a pedagogical trend, but a structural necessity for developing future-ready competence. So emphasis has need to be on self-regulation, learning to learn, communication and collaboration, digital competence, adaptability, and problem solving. So competence development cannot rely on lecturing. It requires active student-driven learning. And on next slide, there is core skills which World Economic Forum has collected, and as you see, it's in 2025. So we should already have those skills as a worker or students. So those are transferable skills. Those are those meta skills, soft skills, future skills, 21st century skills, many words, how to say what they are. The highest is analytical thinking. And I wish that during this lecture, you are doing this analytical thinking all the time, what this means to me as a teacher. Resilience, flexibility, and agility is the second one. Third one, leadership and social influence. Fourth one, creative thinking. Motivation and self-awareness. Technological literacy. Empathy and active listening, curiosity and lifelong learning, etc. So as you see, these are most of these skills are something you can't learn just listening. You need to cooperate and think and discuss with each other. Let's take next slide. Here is one slide about 21st century skills. And for example, if we think about critical thinking, those four top ones in blue, critical thinking is one of the most important qualities for today's professionals to have. We say that everything can be learned everywhere, from internet, from TikTok or somewhere else, Facebook. But critical thinking is something you learn by reflecting and discussing with each other. Creativity empowers students to see concepts in a different light, which leads to innovation. Innovation is something that all businesses need. So, and also the community and countries, they need innovation to get more money and healthy for their inhabitants. Collaboration means getting students to work together, achieve compromises, and get the best possible results from solving a problem. In today's education, collaboration and also teachers' work is very important. You don't actually do anything by yourself. It's very few jobs or work you do by yourself. Like when I made this presentation, I contacted 4 of my colleagues to ask them what kind of ideas they have on this theme. And I got materials from them, and I constructed the final slides by myself. And also I used AI to help me. Communication is a requirement for any company to maintain profitability. It's crucial for students to learn to effectively convey ideas among different personality types. So the question is how to teach and learn these. I would state that not by listening only. You need to work with each other and learn from each other. This source is ICEV and it's from 2024. Let's take next slide. And then some examples using scaffold cards. I'm quite sure that you are already familiar with the scaffold cards. When I got familiar with them, I saw that they are excellent for this theme. I made here an example in VET, so vocational education and training, about critical thinking. There could be used authentic task, problem-based learning, reflective practice, and for the students, there could be like automotive diagnostic task. And the students investigate a vehicle fault. They have that as a task. And teacher is asking questions and guiding them to find the solution. So the teacher is not giving the answers or lectures how to do it. The teacher is asking what evidence supports your conclusion, what they have done, what alternative causes did you rule out when you made the diagnostic, and so on. So teacher is a facilitator of this learning process. Another example for business and entrepreneurship module, students' task is to design a pop-up service and use their creativity and develop it. And they choose concept, branding, and customer experience. And teachers' prompts to guide them is, how could you make this service stand out? What unmet customer need could you solve? And so on. So again, the teacher doesn't lecture what is a good pop-up service, but the students find it out themselves by co-designing, open-end task, experiential learning, and doing it a real working life. And then there is also collaboration and communication. So just some examples of it. Let's take the next one. Then we turn to responsibility shift in learning. And the main thing is the changing roles of a teacher and a student. Students take responsibility for demonstrating competence. So they show what they have learned and what they have developed. And as I told already, you can learn everywhere and at any time. So it's not about the teacher, what they learn. It's about themselves and what they find that it's important to learn. And teachers act as coaches, mentors, and facilitators. They give clear structures for the students, so teachers is still needed. And these expectations support autonomy. So the whole thing is that the teacher want to develop students' autonomy of their learning. So the challenge is varying readiness from self-directed learning. It needs scaffolding and guidance of the teacher. So teachers are still needed, but they need to know where they should go ahead, but they don't tell how. They guide and they give instructions if needed. And there is one scaffold card project-based learning, and I think this card is very good from this responsibility swifting. Next, please. I'm not sure if in your country is already competence-based curriculums, but as far as I know, in many countries there is, and in Finland all curriculums are competence-based, from basic education, vocational education, and also university levels. So it's a core feature for schools and education. In those competence-based curriculums, competence defines progression, not the time. So it doesn't matter where and when and how the student learns the needed competencies. And it's not said that this takes that much time. Somebody can make it faster. The other ones, it can take longer. So it's upon the student what is the time needed to learn those competencies. So every student has individual competence development plans, and those are done with the student and with the teacher together. But the student can say that this needs more time, or the teacher can say that I can see you haven't learned everything. Let's make this once more so you can learn it better. And especially in VET school level, demonstrations in a real or realistic work environments, they show their competencies. So they are assessed in realistic work environments. So what is a teacher's role? The teacher is an expert of assessment, and my main words to our student teachers is that if assessment doesn't change, then teaching or learning doesn't change. So take care. You have already had an assessment lecture. Go back to it and assess yourself what has changed. Teacher is also a learning pathway designer. So teacher is a bridge between student and the workplace, especially in VET and university level, but also in basic level, because that's a basic education which is in the bottom before VET or university studies. Let's take next slide. Pedagogical justification, active learning. As I told already, active learning is something is needed. So swift from teacher-centered delivery to student-centered activity. And it requires from the teacher facilitation of the learning process, as I told already, a guiding approach using open-ended questions. So it's not that the teacher says, when the student asks, the teacher says the answer, but the teacher gives new open-ended questions to help the student to find the right and good answers. And also this requires from the teacher the ability to build a safe pedagogical learning space, that the student is not afraid to ask. And also it means that the teacher doesn't know everything and don't need to know everything. The teacher can also say, I don't know, you can find it out, I help you. In scaffold cards, there is again learner-led learning card, and I think this is very good help for active learning and developing that. Let's take next slide. Pedagogical justification need for authentic working life context, especially in vocational education. So it means VET education and university education, and this is a cornerstone of Finnish VET. So they have an extensive workplace learning periods. It can be maximum half of the studies can be learned in workplaces, and if it's it can be also longer, but mainly it's half of the studies. Competence demonstrations in real work task, as I told before, and collaboration with employees. Teacher's role is ensures learning quality, supports workplace instructors, and connects theory and practice. That's very important. So it's not learning is not just in theory, but you take it to the practice, what it means in practice, and how you can use those theories, what you have learned. And teacher also guides reflection on experience, and reflection is something if you don't do reflection, a lot of learning can be vanished. So reflection is very important in learning. And again, scaffold cards, project-based learning, laboratory learning is something that would suit very well in VET education. Let's take next slide. Okay, when we talk about teacher-led model and facilitate model, what is the SWIFT actually means? In traditional teacher-led model, the teacher's main role is to deliver content. The lesson is structured around explaining, demonstrating, and giving clear instructions. Students mostly listen, complete predefined exercises, and reproduce what they have been taught. The focus is often on getting the correct answer and covering the curriculum efficiently. Now, if we move to facilitative model, the role of the teacher changes significantly. The teacher is no longer primarily a transmitter of knowledge, but a designer of learning experiences. Instead of asking, "Did you understand what I explained?" the teacher asks, "How can I create a situation where students discover and construct understanding themselves?" For example, in primary school education, a teacher-led lesson might involve explaining how ecosystems work, followed by the workbook tasks. In facilitative model, students might investigate a real question such as, why are there fewer insects in our schoolyard than before? They observe, collect data, discuss in groups, and propose explanations. The teacher guides with questions, structures the inquiry, and supports reflection, but does not provide any ready-made answers. And I know that this kind of teaching has been facilitated in primary schools, basic education, so it's possible. The difference is also visible in the skills development. In the teacher-led model, students mainly practice subject knowledge. In the facilitative model, they also develop meta skills, collaboration, communication, self-regulation, and problem solving. What we just discussed, what are the future skills? The teacher carefully designs tasks, scaffolds learning, and gradually releases responsibility as students become more capable. So the SWIFT is not about leaving teaching or behind. It's about transforming teaching, from delivering information to cultivating learners who are thinking, collaborative, and adapt independently. So a quite big shift from teacher-led to facilitative model. Next slide, please. So, pedagogical justification, last slide. As I told, I've been a long time teaching since 1990, and I've seen the changes in students. Restlessness and motivation issues, and lower confidence and significant variation in executive functioning skills. They are not simply behavioral issues, they are learning design challenges in all school levels at the moment. It's a pity, but that's true. And now you can also reflect how it is in your country and in your school level that you represent. So in this context, when the students have these problems or challenges, teaching cannot rely on control or content delivery alone. It requires strong facilitation skills. The teacher must actively design structures that support regulation, engagement, and psychological safety during the learning process. And I think, as far as I've been familiar with the scaffold cards, they are very valuable in these things. There is this self-regulation, flexibility, well-being, lifecom cards in scaffold cards. So get familiar with those. Let's take next slide. Okay, now we've been thinking about why we should change from teaching to facilitating learning. And I would like you to write a bit down or in chat while I continue that what idea did come to your mind about these things, what I just told you. So reflect what came to your mind and let's continue. So what is the connection between theories for learning and teaching? As I told, I've been in education field a long time, and I've been teaching teachers, vocational teachers, since 1999, and we always discuss about theories for learning and teaching, and what is my theory, how my students learn. So shortly, I present theories for learning and then some practical examples of learning concepts and scaffold cards. Let's take next slide. So here you see theories for learning. And if we first look at the circles with the colors there, behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, connectivism, and humanism. These are the main 5 theories for learning. And the thing what I want to express here is that no single learning theory is sufficient alone in education. But the teacher needs to know what is the main thing in every learning theory. In behaviorism, which has been said that it ended 1950, behaviorism builds routines. Cognitivism, also 1970, it ended. It builds understanding. Constructivism builds meaning. Connectivism builds networks. And humanism builds professional identity. And I think the scaffold cards help teachers integrate all these layers into facilitative practice. Many approaches emerge: experiential learning, problem-based learning, inquiry-based learning, more facilitating learning than teaching. And then shortly, next slide, please. What is behaviorism? I think we all know it very well. Pavlov's dog research, what he made. Here is an example. An adult learner is a language course receives immediately feedback and praise for correct pronouncing. Over time, they improve by repeating correct patterns and avoiding mistakes due reinforcement. So behavioral learning is not the opposite of facilitation. It's a necessary step when learning basic skills, safety practices, and standardized work processes. Facilitation begins when routines are automated. So I know also from my side that behaviorism is something that we say no, 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 but we know that in some cases it's really needed. In this material, there is also some materials what I picked up to you if you want to study more of these. Let's take next. Connectivism, as I told, it ended up 1970. I have gone to school 1971, so there should have not been connectivism anymore, but I'm quite sure there was still. An example, a graduate student uses concept maps to organize theories in psychology, helping them understand relationships between ideas and improve recall during exams. This is a good example of connectivism. So learning mechanism is connections, information flow, updating of knowledge. Let's take next slide. Constructivism, and my example soon is about constructivism, because I think it is still going, and it's maybe the main used ism about teaching. An example, a project-based course, learners collaborate to design a community health intervention. They draw a prior knowledge, research, and peer feedback to build understanding. So the learning mechanism is experience, interpretation, construction of meaning, and new knowledge. So what they learn is connected what they have learned before. And somehow that's the mechanism of learning, that always you connect what you have learned before, you connect new learning and or ideas to that, so that you can learn. Let's take next slide, please. Connectivism, it's more onwards 2005. An example, a professional learner builds a personal learning network on LinkedIn and other social media platform, engaging with experts, sharing resources, and participating in webinars to stay updated in their field. So the learning mechanism is a lot to constructivism, connections, information flow, updating of knowledge. And let's take the humanism, the last slide. Example, a learner chooses a research topic that aligns with their personal values and career goals. The instructor supports autonomy and emotional well-being throughout the process. Learning mechanism is self-knowledge, motivation, commitment, growth. And then the slides about some practical examples of constructivist facilitation. So next, thank you. Next slide. And I made you, let's take the next slide after that, please. So I made you 3 examples of constructivist facilitation, what it could actually mean. And first, case primary education. The case could be, example, sustainable school cafe project, that the school has this kind of project and how it goes. First, collaborative planning. So students plan the cafe concepts together. You see, students, not the teacher, the students. And the question could be, what would be a reasonable cafeteria day for school look like? So what kind of cafeteria they could do in their school? They have an authentic task, and their work is to organize a real or simulated cafe day in their school. Collaborative learning, the teams, what kind of groups the teacher organizes, or the students by themselves. Teams manage different roles. So who is baking, who is serving, who is selling, who is buying something, and so on. Experiential learning, learn by doing and reflecting. Again, reflecting has to be there. And problem-based learning, solve real-life challenges. What is the teacher? The teacher is a facilitator for this process or project. Teacher guides with open questions, does not provide ready-made answers, helps the students to find the answers by open-ended questions. They support teamwork, helps to solve conflicts and supports reflection. What do we learn from collaboration? Could be also a question for the students. Gradually releases responsibility for the students. He gives trust, autonomy, and self-resilience for the students. Let's take next slide, please. And then case VET or TVET. Case is real client workplace project. Again, authentic task. They have to deliver a real assignment for a client. For example, they need to repair a car. They need to plan and implement birthday catering, or they need to repair a house. Problem-based learning start from client needs, and student makes the questions and get the needs of the client. Collaborative learning, professional team roles again, and here can also be from different subject fields, experts of the students. So there could be a marketing student, there could be a student from car repairing or house repairing, and so on. Experiential learning, work first, reflect after. Again, reflecting very important. And co-designing, students co-create project plan. And as I told, I worked a long time in vet school, almost 20 years, and I've run this kind of projects with my students. Teacher, as a facilitator, acts as project coach and sparring risk management, provides formative feedback all the time, the process, formative feedback, and connects practice with theory. So of course they need some kind of theory background, but the teacher is not lecturing, is helping when the students have the problem and giving them a guide where they could find the solution. So the students make the project by themselves. Let's take the last example. So university level, there could be this kind of case, a multidisciplinary innovation challenge, problem-based learning, real-world sustainability challenge. For example, how might we reduce wood waste in urban campuses? I also seen this kind of project in running, so I know that they have done it. Co-design, again, students define research questions, outputs, and working methods. Collaborative learning, multidisciplinary teamwork, and usually in even university levels, there is business, technological education. There could be also pharmacy, social, and so on. So all kind of in different fields, the students, and those are the most best projects what they have done. Authentic task, work with external partners. Usually in university levels, there is cities or companies along with the project, or they have given the task, a real life task for the students. And experiential learning, prototype and test solutions. So they make these kind of prototypes to companies and find solutions. And I think I forgot to tell, I've been working as an entrepreneur a long time, and I have also given task for university students to make this kind of innovation solutions. Again, teacher as a facilitator, teacher does not lecture on solutions, facilitates critical dialogue and design sprints for the students, and provides access to expert networks and guides research reflection and supports academic argumentation. As you see, if we take the next slide, summary. In constructive with teaching, scaffold cards are not just methods, but building blocks on the learning processes. Knowledge is built from experiences. Learning is social. Problems guide thinking, and teacher builds a learning ecosystem where the students work. So facilitation means that gradual dismantling of support, from structured support to learner autonomy. Okay, and now activating poll. If we could get poll number 1. So please, if you could answer to the poll. So the first question is, which learning theory do you think teaching and learning are based on in your country you represent? So please choose the answer. And second question, which learning theory best reflects your own teaching? And third one, what influences your personal learning theory the most in your daily teaching practice? And if you have answered, Victoria can see it, and if you can share the results so we can have a look shortly.
So we've got, for the question number 1, we've got constructivism.
Yeah.
For question number 2, we got cognitivism and humanism.
Okay.
1 and 1. And question number 3 would be own experience and research.
Okay. Okay. Good. What was the first? What cognitivism? Cognitivism.
And now constructivism.
Constructivism. Okay, very good. Very good to hear that. And you have a good starting point to facilitate learning because you have already this constructivism. And what influences your personal learning theory the most? Own educational background and experience. That's very good point. And this is something what we discuss with our students a lot. And actually, my next theme is about this. So maybe we could continue there. So what is the connection between teachers' theory in use and teaching? As I told, I started my school path 1971. And at that time in Finland, we made a big change in our curriculums. And from that on, it has been changing all the time. Finland is maybe the most known country where education is developed all the time. But it started 1970. And big change from that. And because I was at school, in basic school at that time, I've seen the whole changes during my lifetime. And I think it has been developed quite well. But the discussion at the moment in Finland is that is everything good what we have done? That sometimes we could have been researched beforehand or make some experiments before we make a law that this is the way it should be. And when I started my school, if we take the next slide, it's maybe easier to explain. What factors influences teachers' theory in use? So the theory in use, it's a combination of read information, what the teacher has read. It's a combination of teachers' beliefs, values, and attitudes about the teacher, teaching, and learning. And as you answer to the poll that your own experience of teaching and learning is the most thing what affects how you do. So the way I've been taught from 1971 since now affects on my teaching and my theory in use and how I implement my teaching. And this is something that we discuss with our student teachers a lot, that how their own beliefs, attitudes, and experiences affect how they teach. So there is this concept of human, how we think, how human is, how human learns, how human acts, and so on. Conceptations of knowledge, how knowledge is provided, how new knowledge comes or creates, how you learn. As I told in connectivism and constructivism, there is more that you learn by putting new things with the old things what you know. So it's connecting things. Things are not separately learned, and you don't remember those separately things. And the third one, what affects teachers' theory in use is conceptions of learning. So how people learn. And from there comes theory in use. And theory in use is something that the others see quite well. You can write anything, like our student teachers write me plans how they are going to teach. And when I go and see what they are doing and reflecting, and I see that they don't implement their teaching the way they have been writing. And usually it needs to discuss why this is the way they do. And many things, the reason is the way they have been learned. Like one student teacher was teaching accounting, and she's been teaching accounting that way, that lecturing. And she was doing the same. Anyhow, she wrote it different way in her plans, but when she was doing, she was implementing it by lecturing. And then when we reflected, she saw, okay, yes, that's true. I'm doing the same way I was taught that subject. So often theory in use is something that it's not clearly stated if you don't think it beforehand. What is my theory in use? And when our student teachers end their studies, we discuss how their theory in use has been changed during their teacher studies. So theory in use is that the teacher actually uses in their activities. What they say, they support and implement. And as I told, for me, this kind of teaching that I'm just lecturing, it's not my way of teaching. I always need some kind of interaction and discussion with students. And I'm looking my time that we will have time for that. And I wish we could discuss together what kind of ideas this lecture has given to you. So the conceptions, these human knowledge and learning, they affect the teachers' values and attitudes, their role as teachers, the teaching methods they use, and the way they support their students. And if you think that the main thing is to deliver knowledge and the content, then it's hard to implement facilitation of learning. Then the need is to change your thinking of knowledge, how knowledge is delivered and how learning is happening. Yes. Let's take the next slide. Oh, I forgot we can keep this slide, but there was reflection for you. How does this actually affect my teaching? So the theory in use. And are there really facilitating elements in my teaching? So those are the things I wish you could reflect and we could maybe discuss a bit more. So a summary, facilitation of learning. What challenges in teachers and students' role? Teacher's role, learning coach and facilitator. So a teacher has to give up on lecturing and trusting the students and giving them autonomy to work and learn. Competence assessment expert. I told that assessment is the one who is it's a dog and who is waving the tail. So if the assessment doesn't change, then learning doesn't change. That's why competence assessment expert is the teacher in facilitation of learning. The teacher is a co-designer of individual learning path. As I told, every student is doing individual learning paths, and it's done with the teacher. And if it's a young student over 18, then also with the parents. So the parents are involved in that process too. The teacher is a networker with working life partners in facilitation of learning and builder of pedagogical safety. Safety is important. As I told before, the student, there has to be that kind of atmosphere that the student can ask and also say that this is not the way that what the teacher is saying, that we can do it differently. You have to also accept that they can make failures and take risks. And this is something, it's very hard as a teacher when you see that doesn't go now right, but usually that's the best way to learn. And the main thing is for the teacher to make the right questions. So make questions, are you sure what you are now doing, that this is the best way? And not giving the right answer that don't do that, it's not or going to be well. Then what is the student's role in facilitating of learning? The student is active, knowledge constructor, responsible for demonstrating competence, and reflective and self-directed learner, prepared for continuous change in working life. As I told before, I've seen, and it's not only in Finland, I think it's in many countries the same, restlessness and motivation problems that the students have. So the main thing is that the teacher plans the pedagogical safety and the process that way that everybody can join and everybody can learn, and it's safety and it's motivating for the students. Let's take the scaffold cards, my last slide before our reflection. I picked up some scaffold cards and facilitation of learning cards. Most of these I have already mentioned, but as you see, there are a range of facilitation methods to plan and implement learning. So please use the cards. There is value creation, pedagogy, learner-led learning, seriously playful learning, service learning, project-based learning, cooperative learning, laboratory learning. So many kind of methods to use facilitation in learning. Okay, let's take the next reflection and feedback. And please answer, and then we have time to discuss and reflect also. So the first question is, how strongly do you feel that you have moved from teaching to facilitating learning in your own teaching? Second question, which area of facilitation currently requires the most development from you? And you can choose several in this second question. And third question is, how well do you feel that you understand the connection between learning theories and your own teaching? And when you are ready, then we can have a look. We got answers.
Only a couple of people have answered so far. Maybe we could provide a couple
we
more
can
minutes.
wait. Yeah. How does it look like? Have we got answers?
Would you like me to end the poll?
Yep, yes, please. Can you share it, the results?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Can you see them now?
No, not me. Let me see. No, I can see only the questions, but not the results.
I am sharing the results.
Funny. Well, if you can explain, because I can't see them somehow.
So, okay, we've got one answer of, so basically the last, in question number 1, except for the last answer, the rest have been chosen.
Okay,
So 1,
good.
2, and 3, and 4.
Yep.
So in question number 2, everyone voted for number 1.
Okay.
And in question number 3, everyone chose option 3.
Okay, good. Good to know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the answers and results. And that was my last slide. So and I wish that now we have time to discuss. So any questions or comments you have, I'd be happy to hear you. So please, if possible, if you can put on your camera and open a microphone or write on chat, would be lovely to hear from you. And while you are thinking, I want to let you know that you are going to get the handout after this webinar. So if you have any interest, please have a look. I've tried to prepare it that way that you learn more. But please, is there any? Yeah, there is now. The slides are there. Is it that handout? Yeah. But I can say that much that the question number 2, where you chosen supporting students' self-direction, I would like to hear what kind of ideas you have to that one, because I see that that's also the thing that we are discussing in every school level in Finland. As I told, this restlessness and also motivation problems. And I think that COVID, what we had past years, has also made some problems for the students.
Добрый день еще раз, Виктория. Меня слышно, да?
Да, Оля, здравствуйте.
Спасибо большое вам за ваше выступление, за информацию. У меня как раз и был вопрос по поводу самостоятельности. Я отмечала сейчас в вопросе, в рефлексии именно понятие самостоятельности. Я думаю, что это сегодняшний день очень большая проблема для нас, педагогов, поскольку дети менее активны, менее заинтересованы в обучении, получении информации. И еще, наверное, такой большой минус в обучении – это искусственный интеллект. Они сейчас теряют интерес к получению информации, поскольку имеют возможность для такого быстрого получения информации, применяя различные инструменты. Поэтому то, что вы сейчас сказали о том, что если какие-то поделиться информацией, поделиться опытом по именно развитию самостоятельности в обучении, я думаю, это очень такой актуальный вопрос, который я и хотела задать. Есть ли примеры, есть ли какие-то примеры, чтобы поделиться опытом? Как детей приучить к самостоятельности? Могли бы вы из своей практики привести такие примеры, что вы используете именно?
Thank you for the very good question. Actually, I'm planning this morning. I was planning next week a student teachers meeting that we have, and our theme is assessment. And I was collecting material about assessment, ethics, and AI. And this is also something we are discussing with our students, student teachers quite a lot, and how to use it efficiently, but in a ethical and also motivative way. And we are making again or remaking our tasks for next year for our student teachers. And in our Moodle learning environment, what we use, we have those guidelines for AI, for using AI. But the problem is the same. Also, student teachers, some of them use AI, no brains at all. And next week I will have a meeting because I'm in charge of the pedagogy, what kind of pedagogy we use in our teacher education in my position, of course, with our teachers. But we were discussing with our expert that we made guidelines for the tasks in our Moodle environment where the assignments are. And we give that kind of we try to create that kind of task which are motivating, but where you can't use AI to produce your writing or what you are doing. I don't know how we succeed, but we try to give that kind of instructions for our student teachers, that we give prompts what they need to use, and they have to explain how they have used this AI in their learning process. Some of our tasks are already that kind, but not all. But we have to change it because some of our student teachers believe they are coming to be teachers. They don't want to learn. And also youngsters at the basic education is the same thing. So as a teacher and teacher educator, I've seen that we can't say that you are not allowed to use AI. We have to find solutions how they could use it, because that is something that we have already, and we can't push it away. But we have to find the solutions how it helps learning. And one thing that we have now done is that we are making instructions, and quite clear instructions. Is it allowed or not? And if it's used, use these questions, these prompts, and explain what did you learn using AI. And so that the task is not only written task, we have also been discussing that the students can return videos, short videos. So we can see, of course, you can do it that way, that you write it on with AI and then you read it on loud. But anyhow, even try to do it. Well, motivation. Shortly, we have still time. Motivation is something, it's my main theme. How to create motivation, because I have also worked as a head of a teacher education program. So motivation in a working life and also for students. First of all, that you can choose how you do it and what you do. And that's facilitating learning, I think. Then the teacher doesn't say that you have to do it that way. So how and what? So choosing. Second one, you can use your best knowledge what you have. So everybody has their own level what to reach. And that is this competence-based education. It's the main of that. So everybody can learn something. So it's enough challenging for every student. Third one is that you feel that what I do helps also the others. That's also a part of motivation. And fourth one is that you have a feeling. Now I forgot it. I see that I've been talking 90 minutes. I forgot it. Let me think, because there is 4-1. Yeah, you feel that you are a part of the community, part of the group, that your work is important to each other, to the others. So 4 things are important making motivation. The main thing is that you can make solutions. You can that way decide yourself. I know that in learning and teaching, everything is not possible, but there is some options where you can choose, and that motivates you. And also that you can do your best. So reach a bit higher. That also motivates people. I wish I answered your very good question and you got something from it.
Спасибо большое. Thank you very much.
I see that we have 3 minutes left. If there is any other question or comment, I would love to hear. If not, Victoria, I would love to thank for inviting me, making this lecture and webinar, and also Anaya, thank you very much. Ayana, for your help, and also Olesia, of course, about translating. Thank you very much, and all the participants. Lovely that I got you here to this webinar.
Уважаемые участники, уважаемая команда, уважаемый эксперт, спасибо большое за то, что вы предоставили время, да, своему профессиональному развитию. Также спасибо большое всем на всей команде организаторов за организацию вебинара. Хотелось бы буквально последние пару минут, да, напомнить вам, что у нас с вами остается 2 вебинара из серии международных вебинаров Дарья Scaffold. Все анонсы у нас данных вебинаров будут опубликованы в нашем телеграм-канале, а также на странице Дарья Scaffold. Позвольте еще раз вас поблагодарить за участие на сегодняшнем вебинаре. Пожалуйста, оставляйте свои комментарии, также вопросы в нашей группе в Телеграм, также делитесь своими впечатлениями. Будем очень благодарны за обратную связь. Напоминаю вам то, что запись сегодняшнего вебинара, а также материалы и раздаточный материал будут доступны для ознакомления и скачивания для вас сегодня в течение дня. Мы также опубликуем ссылку на ресурс в нашей телеграм-группе и на мини-сайте. Спасибо большое. Желаем вам доброго вечера.
Спасибо. До встречи. Bye-bye.
Bye.